Okay, let's talk about scenes and layout. You add a scene in SketchUp super easily by coming to scenes on the right side of your default tray and clicking add scene. Super easy. So we'll call this one perspective one. Not a very compelling or intriguing perspective, but it's fine for our purposes here. And I can come over and snag a couple more. If I wanted this one to have the sun in it, I would go to view, shadows, and it'll have the sun. And then when I click plus sign, it will save the sun in this one. So perspective two. And I'm gonna grab a couple of these so that we can do it in layout. Come over here, and this is like approaching the kitchen, I guess. Who knows? And go to add scene, and we'll call it perspective three. Great. And I know that I'm in perspective one because everything's at an angle and it looks like how I see the world. And I can also double check because under camera it says perspective. You can also do 2-point perspective, but that's not necessary here. Just keep it in perspective. For exercise 2 and assignment 2, you guys have to do 3 different types of scenes. You have to do perspectives, elevations, and sections. And we've talked about that ad nauseum in class, the difference between the three. But for an elevation, let's say I just wanted inside this cabinet or inside the kitchen, looking the island, looking at the kitchen. I have to use the combination of 2 different things. This view panel and a certain type of camera. So first, I'm going to find this view, and it looks like if this is the view for front for me, and if I were to come around, it would show me different sides of my model and different places. But now I'm off the middle of nowhere, so I'll come back to a scene, which will help me orient myself, and I will click front. And if I want to change this into an elevation, I have to go to camera and choose parallel projection. Now this is an elevation. This is, make sure, and then make sure you click, this is an elevation. Make sure you click camera, parallel projection, and you click front, or whichever side you're on. So I'm looking good right here. Everything is nice and crisp and tidy. Everything, we're in an orthogonal perpendicular world. This is an elevation. This is not an elevation. This is just a strange perspective. This is not an elevation. If I come here and then I change this to perspective, I'm back in perspective mode. Please do not confuse the two. So elevation, go to parallel projection, and then make sure I'm here under front mode. I can click plus and make this elevation one. Elev one. And now I can go back and forth between my views, and it will, like perspective one will be in perspective mode, and elevation will be in parallel projection uh, for an elevation. Now I can come over to another side like this. This is not informative because I haven't modeled it all, but I'm in parallel projection and I'm on a side view. So everything is nice and perpendicular. And I will just click plus again, and I will do elevation two. But make sure y'all are real nice and pretty and informative. This is just me moving fast. If I want to do a section, I will show you what a section is like from perspective mode first because it's easier to understand. I will come right here. Let's say I want to cut a section through this wall in my island. I will find this tool called section and click the section plane button. And then it will want to orient a section along the green, the red, or the blue axis. Well, I'm going to do this one along the the red, so I can cut through. I can cut through the island, and I will click here, and I'll just call it section one. That's fine. So it's cutting not where I want it to, so I'm going to move it back. I'll select the plane, tap M, and then move it back this way until it's cutting right where I want it to. This is fine. I'll turn my floor back on to make this a little more helpful to see. And this is a section cut, but this is not a section view. This is a section in perspective. And if I want to be isometric, I can click the isometric button, but we're not doing that. There's also axonometric, but we can talk about that later. I need to find this view from one of these sides. So I will come over to, I think it is back. Nope, not back. It is going to be in my model, my left side. Great, so I'll zoom into it, staying on the left side right here. And then this is not a section. This is a section perspective, and it is not a section. So we need to come into camera parallel projection. Now this is a section. This is a section. It's not pretty, but it's there. And from here, I can go to add scene and call it section. And I've got one of my sections here. So perspective is just how you see the world. We'll talk more about that with story drawing. Elevations are flat on perpendicular orthogonal views that don't cut through anything. And then sections are the same thing as an elevation, but they cut through things to show us how things work and how they're made. Okay. So from here, once I have scenes, now I can use layout. So if I save and go to File, Send to Layout, it will spin up layout. This may take a second. And just like in AutoCAD, there's paper space. Layout is essentially SketchUp's paper space. In Paperspace and AutoCAD, you have to type in mview to get a view, but here I'll just click A4 landscape for an example, because it's 24 by 36. I don't have to do mview or any of that to get a viewport. It gives me one viewport. It gave me the elevation one. Um, and from here, I can make all the other views that I need. So if I click this corner and hold shift to constrain it proportionally, I can bring it down to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these grids. Keep the grid on and grid snap on because it'll make things nice and tidy. And then from here, I can move a copy of this viewport by tapping M and Control and then dragging over with Shift to make it aligned. And I'll do the same thing, M, Control, Shift, click. And I can select all these, M, Control, Shift, click, M, Control, Shift, click, and make sure these are all spaced apart, nice and even. So you'll have 9 different views, different scenes, a couple different perspectives, some elevations, and some sections. From here, I can go in and say, if this is linked to my SketchUp model, this layout file, and it is its own file, you will need to save this as a separate document. So File, Save, and it will be the layout for, so cabin, demo, YouTube, layout. Well, actually, I don't need to put layout because it's going to be a dot layout. And then save, and this is its own file. This is where you will export to PDF from here. I know that it's selected. If I select a scene, I know it's linked to the correct SketchUp model, the How to SketchUp YouTube one, because it says How to SketchUp YouTube. So from here, I can just change this to right click and go down to scenes and select all of the different scenes that I just set up in SketchUp. They can populate here. So my section can be right there. And you should group these. Here, I'll show you how you should do it. Get out of there. I will set like scenes next to each other. So my perspectives are going to be up top. And then everything else could be all of my orthographics. So elevations, I'll keep that one there and change this one to the other elevation. And then this one can be my section. And that's all we're going to do for this demo. So these don't have to be set in stone from here. Let's say I wanted to update what the style, because we don't want any of this default blue SketchUp sky in here. That is not professional. We don't want that. So let's say I went back to SketchUp and I went to my section cut. We'll do perspective because most of the deliverables are perspectives. And I will go to styles. And at the very least, you need to change it to default styles construction documents. And that way, at least it's something diagrammatic floating in space. Let's say I also didn't want my line work because we don't want line work showing. I will go to tags and hide that. And now, well, on my floor, I will go to this perspective one and right click and update scene. Very important, and click update to all these things, yes. It's very important that I click update scene right here. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose all that stuff I just changed. Now, save it, Control S. It's very important that you save it, otherwise LayOut won't know to regenerate this. So from here, if I select this scene, which is what I updated, if I come over here to SketchUp model, how does SketchUp YouTube.SketchUp, and reload this by clicking this button, then LayOut knows to update what we just did here, update the scene right here. Okay, I'll do that one more time for you guys. So we go back to SketchUp, let's do perspective 2 this time. And I'll change this to something kind of funky like color sets, oh, this, why not? And then go to perspective, which one is this? This is 2, right click, update scene, yep, all these things, and do Control S. If I don't save, it won't work in LayOut. I'll come here, select this viewport, and then reload the whole model. And because I saved it and updated the scene, it'll update here. So you can change the views, you can get like just fine tune your composition from here, all the line weights for how the section will work and your elevations. And then from here, you can do a lot in LayOut. You can actually dimension and annotate anything here using all these tabs on the side here. This is where you can get blocks. So you'll drop in a title block for each one of these and label all of these correctly and make sure that everything has a title and a scale if it's scalable. Perspectives are not to scale. Elevations and sections are because they're orthographics. So you'll put not to scale for perspectives, and then whatever scale you set these at, depending on how large your tiles are, you'll set that scale. Okay, that's enough for now. Thanks.